3 years ago, the UES Indomitable had disappeared. The news report said the great ship was lost with all hands during a secret mission. Families cried for their lost sons and daughters. The military held memorial services. The galaxy believed the mighty Dreadnought was gone forever. They were wrong. Admiral Seung-ho Jang stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, very much alive. His ship floated in the darkness between stars, hidden by the most advanced stealth systems humanity had ever built. The massive vessel was over 3 kilometers long, bigger than most space stations. Its hull was black as space itself, covered with weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Seung-ho was 55 years old, with silver hair and deep lines around his eyes. He had commanded warships for 30 years. The Indomitable was his greatest command and his greatest secret. For 3 years, he and his crew had hunted Vorthan strike forces in the empty spaces between star systems. "Admiral, we're picking up something on the long-range sensors," said Captain Min-seo Kang from the tactical station. She was a small woman with sharp features and quick eyes. Min-seo could read sensor data faster than anyone Seung-ho had ever known. "What do you see?" Seung-ho asked. Min-seo's fingers danced over her controls. Numbers and pictures filled her screens. "A large fleet, sir. 47 Vorthan ships. They're moving toward the Kepler 442 system." Seung-ho knew that system well. It held a small human research station called Prometheus Base. Good people worked there, studying new worlds and searching for life among the stars. They were scientists, not soldiers. "Are there any human military ships in that system?" he asked. "No, sir," Min-seo replied. "Just the research station. They have no weapons to speak of." Commander Jae-sung looked up from his weapons station. He was a big man with thick hands that were surprisingly gentle when working with complex machinery. Jae-sung controlled the most powerful weapons ever put on a human ship. "Admiral, our orders are to remain hidden," he said quietly. "Command wants us to hunt their deep strike groups, not protect individual stations." Seung-ho nodded slowly. Jae-sung was right. The Indomitable's mission was secret and important. They were supposed to find and destroy Vorthan command ships that threatened human space. For 3 years, they had done this job well. The Vorthans had lost 12 major vessels to the ghost ship they thought was dead. But 47 ships moving toward helpless civilians was different. Seung-ho had seen what Vorthan battle fleets did to undefended targets. The aliens did not always kill everyone, but they took prisoners and destroyed everything valuable. The people at Prometheus Base would suffer or die. "How long until the Vorthan fleet reaches the research station?" he asked. Lieutenant So-young Kim answered from the helm. She was young, only 28, but she could fly the massive Dreadnought like it was a small fighter craft. "At their current speed, about 6 hours, sir, 6 hours. "Not much time to make a difficult choice, sir," Min-seo said. "I'm reading the Vorthan fleet composition. 12 heavy cruisers, 3 battleships, and 32 smaller vessels. It's a full battle group. They're not just passing through," Jae-sung added. "That many ships means they plan to attack something." Seung-ho walked to the large window at the front of the bridge. Outside, stars filled the darkness. Somewhere among those stars, innocent people were about to face an alien armada. The Vorthans might give them a chance to surrender, but surrender to the Vorthans often meant slavery or death. The bridge was quiet, except for the soft humming of computers and life support systems. The crew waited for their admiral's decision. They all knew what the choice meant. If they revealed themselves to help the research station, their secret mission would end. The Vorthans would know the Indomitable was alive and hunting them, but Seung-ho remembered why he had become a soldier. It was not to hide in the darkness while good people died. It was to protect humanity no matter the cost. So-young set course for the Kepler 442 system, he said. "Maximum stealth approach." "Yes, sir," So-young replied. Her hands moved over the helm controls. The great ship began to turn, its massive bulk moving with surprising grace. "Admiral," Jae-sung said carefully, "if we do this, they'll know we're alive. Our mission here will be over." Seung-ho turned back to his crew. These were good people who had given 3 years of their lives to a secret war. They trusted him to make the right choices. "Jae-sung, how many Vorthan ships have we destroyed in 3 years?" he asked. 12 major vessels, sir, plus their escort ships. "And how many human lives do you think those ships would have taken if we hadn't stopped them?" Jae-sung thought for a moment. "Thousands, sir. Maybe tens of thousands. The people at Prometheus Base are human lives too," Seung-ho said. 42 scientists and support staff. They chose to work at the edge of human space to expand our knowledge of the universe. They deserve our protection. Minseo spoke from her station. Sir, what if the Vorthons are just trying to scare the research station? What if they don't plan to attack? 47 ships is not a scare tactic, Xiong-Ho replied. That's an invasion force. And even if they only want to capture the station, those people will disappear into Vorthon slave camps. I won't let that happen. The bridge crew exchanged looks. They all knew their admiral was right. The mission was important, but protecting innocent lives was more important. Besides, Xiong-Ho added with a small smile, maybe it's time to remind the galaxy why human ships don't surrender. The Vorthons have been getting bold lately. They need to remember what happens when they threaten human civilians. So-Young reported from the helm. Course laid in, sir. We'll reach the system in 4 hours if we maintain current speed. Good. That gives us 2 hours before the Vorthons arrive. Xiong-Ho sat down in his command chair. Minseo, I want full tactical analysis of their fleet. Find the command ship. Jae-Sung, begin pre-combat checks on all weapon systems. So-Young, plot approach vectors that keep us hidden until the last moment. What about contacting the research station? Minseo asked. Xiong-Ho thought about this. Not yet. If we send a message, the Vorthons might detect it. Let them think they're alone. The surprise will be more effective. The crew went to work with quiet efficiency. They had done this before, preparing for battle against impossible odds. But this time felt different. This time they were not hunting enemy ships in empty space. This time they were racing to save human lives. Xiong-Ho watched the stars grow brighter as the Indomitable accelerated toward the distant system. Somewhere ahead, 47 enemy ships were closing in on 42 innocent people. The Vorthons thought they faced only a helpless research station. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Sir, Jae-Sung said quietly. All weapon systems show ready. We can engage the entire enemy fleet simultaneously if needed. I hope it won't come to that, Xiong-Ho replied. But if it does, make sure our first shots count. We might not get a second chance. The great ship moved through space like a hunting shark, invisible and deadly. Its crew prepared for battle, knowing they might be outnumbered but never outmatched. The Indomitable had earned its name through 3 years of secret victories. Soon it would earn it again. Captain Dae-Ho Kim stood in the control room of Prometheus Base, watching the stars through the large window. The space station was small but important. It sat at the edge of human space, where scientists studied new planets and watched for trouble. Dae-Ho had been the captain here for 3 years. He was a calm man with gray hair and steady hands. The job was usually quiet, which he liked. The morning started like any other. Dae-Ho drank his coffee and read the daily reports. The base had only 42 people working on it. Most were scientists who studied rocks from distant planets or looked for signs of life. Others kept the station running, fixing air systems, growing food, and watching the stars for ships. Bo-Ra Park worked in the engine room. She was the best engineer Dae-Ho had ever known. Bo-Ra could fix anything that broke on the station. She was young but smart, with quick fingers and a sharp mind. That morning she was checking the power systems when her screen started beeping. That's strange, Bo-Ra said to herself. She looked at the numbers on her screen. Something was coming toward them from deep space. The computers showed many objects moving fast through space. Too many objects, too big to be normal trade ships. Bo-Ra picked up her communication device. Captain Kim, please come to the engine room. I need to show you something. Dae-Ho put down his coffee cup and walked quickly through the station's narrow halls. The walls were white metal with blue lights. His footsteps echoed as he moved. When he reached the engine room, Bo-Ra was standing in front of a large screen filled with red dots. What am I looking at? Dae-Ho asked. Bo-Ra pointed at the screen. Ships, Captain. Lots of them. They dropped out of hyperspace about 10 minutes ago. They're moving toward our system. Dae-Ho felt his heart beat faster. How many ships? The computer counts 47 vessels. Some are very large, much larger than anything we have here. Dae-Ho stared at the red dots on the screen. Each dot was a ship. 47 ships was a battle fleet, not a trade group. No human fleet that large came to this quiet part of space without warning the base first. Are they human ships? He asked, though he already knew the answer. Bo-Ra shook her head. The computer says no. The shapes are wrong. The energy patterns are wrong. These are alien ships, Captain. Dae-Ho's hands felt cold. In 3 years at Prometheus Base, they had never seen alien warships. Sometimes alien trade ships passed through, but they always sent messages first. These ships sent no messages. They just came. Call Woojin and Heejin to the control room, Daeho said. Right now. Bora nodded and spoke into her device. Within minutes, the other two officers arrived. Woojin Lee was the communications officer. He was thin and tall with nervous hands that always moved when he talked. Heejin Cho was the security chief. She was short but strong with sharp eyes that missed nothing. We have a problem, Daeho told them. He explained about the alien ships. Woojin's face went pale. Heejin's jaw tightened. What do we know about them? Heejin asked. Bora pulled up more information on her screen. The computer thinks they are Vorthan ships. The Vorthan Empire controls space on the other side of this system. Everyone knew about the Vorthans. They were tall aliens with gray skin and 4 arms. They controlled many star systems and had a powerful military. Humans and Vorthans sometimes traded, but they were not friends. The two groups had fought small wars before. 47 ships, Woojin said quietly. That's a full battle fleet. Daeho nodded. Heejin, what weapons do we have on the base? Heejin looked uncomfortable. We have some small defensive guns. They're meant to stop space pirates or destroy dangerous rocks. Nothing that could fight a battle fleet. Our cargo ships? Daeho asked. 3 cargo ships and 2 survey craft, Heejin said. No weapons at all. They're not military ships. The control room was quiet for a moment. Everyone understood what this meant. Prometheus Base was a research station, not a fortress. If the Vorthans wanted to attack, there was nothing the humans could do to stop them. How long until they reach us? Daeho asked. Bora checked her screen again. At their current speed, about 6 hours. Try to contact them, Daeho told Woojin. Send the standard greeting message. Ask what they want. Woojin sat down at his communication station. His fingers moved quickly over the controls. After a few minutes, he shook his head. I'm sending the message, but they're not answering. They're ignoring our calls. This was bad news. When ships ignored communication attempts, it usually meant they were planning to attack. Daeho felt a cold fear in his stomach. Send a message to Earth Command, he told Woojin. Tell them about the Vorthan fleet. Ask for help. Captain, Woojin said softly. The nearest human military base is 12 light years away. Even if they send ships immediately, it will take days for them to reach us. Daeho closed his eyes for a moment. 47 alien warships were coming toward his small base. He had 42 people under his command and no way to protect them. The Vorthans would arrive in 6 hours. Help from Earth would not come for days. Keep trying to contact the alien ships, he said finally. Maybe they'll answer eventually. Bora, check all our systems. Make sure everything is working perfectly. Heijin, prepare the emergency evacuation plan. If we need to leave the station quickly, I want everyone ready. The 3 officers nodded and went to work. Daeho stood alone in the control room looking at the red dots on the screen. The dots were getting closer. Outside the window, the stars looked peaceful and calm. But somewhere in that darkness, an alien battle fleet was coming toward them. Daeho had been a soldier before becoming a station captain. He had fought in battles and seen ships destroyed, but he had never felt so helpless. He picked up his coffee cup with shaking hands and took a sip. The coffee was cold now, but he drank it anyway. In 6 hours, everything would change. He just hoped his people would still be alive when the sun rose tomorrow. The Vorthan battle fleet moved through space like a pack of metal wolves. Admiral Kethvar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Stellar Dominion, watching the human research station grow larger on his screens. The station was small and weak, exactly as his intelligence reports had said. Kethvar was tall even for a Vorthan, standing nearly 3 meters high. His gray skin was marked with the scars of many battles, and his forearms moved with practiced efficiency as he gave orders to his crew. He had conquered 17 star systems for the Vorthan Empire. One small human station would not be difficult. Distance to target? He asked his tactical officer. 30 minutes at current speed, Admiral, the officer replied. The humans are sending communication requests, but we are ignoring them as ordered. Kethvar nodded. Fear was a useful weapon. Let the humans wonder what was coming. Let them feel helpless as his mighty fleet approached their pathetic little station. On Prometheus Base, Captain Daeho Kim stood in the control room, watching the approaching fleet. The Vorthan ships were close enough now to see individual details. The alien vessels were angular and aggressive, covered with weapon ports and sensor arrays. Still no response to our messages, Woojin reported from his communication station. His voice was tight with worry. They're not here to talk. Hyojin said grimly. She was checking the base's tiny defensive weapons for the 10th time. The guns were meant to stop small pirates, not battle fleets. Bora looked up from her sensor station. Captain, I'm still picking up that strange reading from beyond the asteroid field. There's something large out there, but the sensors can't get a clear picture. Probably just interference from the asteroids, Deho said, though he didn't sound convinced. He had too many other problems to worry about mysterious sensor readings. The Vorthan fleet spread out as it approached, surrounding the human station like hunters, cornering prey. Kethvar smiled, showing his sharp teeth. The humans had nowhere to run. Prepare to broadcast surrender demands, he ordered. Tell them they have 5 minutes to power down their weapons and prepare to be boarded. But before his communication officer could send the message, every alarm on every Vorthan ship began screaming at once. Admiral! The tactical officer shouted, his voice high with panic. Something is appearing on our sensors. Something massive. On every screen throughout the Vorthan fleet, the same impossible image appeared. A ship was materializing from empty space as if it had been invisible and was now choosing to show itself. But this was not just any ship. The human vessel was enormous. It was longer than 3 Vorthan battleships placed end to end. Its hull was black as the void between stars, covered with more weapons than the entire Vorthan fleet combined. The ship moved with impossible grace for something so large, positioning itself directly between the alien fleet and the human research station. Admiral Kethvar felt his blood turn cold. He knew what this ship was, though he had thought it was a legend. Every Vorthan military officer had heard the stories whispered in the dark corners of their ships. The ghost ship, the human dreadnought that appeared from nowhere to destroy entire fleets. The Indomitable, he whispered. On the bridge of the human dreadnought, Admiral Sung Ho Jang watched the Vorthan fleet with calm eyes. The aliens had stopped moving, their ships frozen in space like frightened animals. Stealth systems disengaged, reported So Young from the helm. We are now fully visible to their sensors. All weapons ports opening, added Jae Sung from the weapons station. Along the Indomitable's hull, hundreds of gun barrels emerged from hidden compartments. Missile tubes opened like the mouths of hungry beasts. Energy projectors powered up with a deep humming that could be felt through the ship's hull. Sir, Minseo said from Tactical. I'm reading panic communications throughout the Vorthan fleet. Several of their smaller ships are requesting permission to withdraw. Sung Ho almost smiled. The psychological effect was exactly what he had hoped for. The Vorthans had grown bold over the years, thinking humanity was weak. It was time to remind them otherwise. On Prometheus Base, Captain Deho stared at the massive ship that had appeared to protect them. The vessel was larger than anything he had ever imagined. Its very presence seemed to change the nature of space around it. My God, Wu Jin whispered. Where did it come from? Bora was checking her sensors frantically. That's what I was detecting earlier. It was there the whole time, but somehow invisible to our scanners. What ship is that? Heejin asked. Deho recognized the design from military briefings he had attended years ago. That's the UES Indomitable, but it's supposed to be destroyed. Lost 3 years ago. It doesn't look destroyed to me, Heejin said. The great ship hung in space like a dark angel, its weapons trained on the Vorthan fleet. The message was clear without any words being spoken. The humans were no longer defenseless. Admiral Kethvar struggled to control his fear. The Indomitable was supposed to be a myth, a story told to frighten young Vorthan soldiers. But the massive ship floating before his fleet was very real. Its energy signature was beyond anything in Vorthan technology. Sir, his tactical officer said with a shaking voice, the human ship is targeting all of our vessels simultaneously. Our computers show weapons locks on every ship in the fleet. This was impossible. No ship, regardless of size, should be able to track and target 47 separate vessels at the same time. The computational power required was beyond Vorthan understanding. How many weapons does that ship have? Kethavar demanded. Sir, our sensors count over 800 individual weapon systems. That's more firepower than our entire fleet combined. The bridge of the Stellar Dominion was silent except for the sound of frightened breathing. Kethvar's crew looked to him for orders, but what orders could he give? His intelligence had said nothing about a human dreadnought protecting this system. On the Indomitable, Seung-ho opened a communication channel to the Vorthan fleet. When he spoke, his voice was calm and reasonable, which somehow made it more terrifying than any threat. Vorthan vessels, You are trespassing in human space. You have 30 seconds to begin your withdrawal, or I will interpret your presence as an act of war." The words echoed through every Vorthan ship. 30 seconds. Not 30 minutes or 30 hours. 30 seconds to decide between retreat and destruction. Admiral Kethvar felt sweat running down his gray skin, despite the cool air of his bridge. Around him, his officers waited for orders. Some looked hopeful, thinking their admiral would find a way to victory. Others looked terrified, knowing they faced something beyond their ability to fight. The countdown began in Kethvar's mind. 29 seconds, 28, 27. His fleet was strong, but the human Dreadnought was stronger. His ships were fast, but they were already surrounded by the humans' weapons. His warriors were brave, but bravery meant nothing against overwhelming firepower. 20 seconds, 19, 18. "Admiral," his communication officer said quietly, "several of our captains are requesting permission to withdraw immediately." "Sir," the tactical officer added, "if that ship opens fire, we cannot stop it. Our shields will not protect us from weapons that powerful." 15 seconds, 14, 13. Kethvar closed his eyes and made his choice. Pride was not worth the lives of 10,000 Vorthan warriors. The Empire needed living soldiers, not dead heroes. But before he could give the order to retreat, the human ship did something that froze his blood completely. The countdown reached 0, and instead of firing, the human Dreadnought began to demonstrate exactly why the Vorthan Empire should fear it. The 30 seconds passed in complete silence. Admiral Seong-ho had given the Vorthan fleet a chance to withdraw peacefully. They had chosen to remain. Now it was time to show them what that choice meant. "Jae-sung," Seong-ho said calmly. "Select target asteroid 77 Alpha. Single primary weapon. Demonstration firing only." "Yes, sir," Jae-sung replied. His thick fingers moved over the weapons controls with careful precision. Target selected. Quantum disruptor cannon charging. Throughout the Indomitable, power flowed from the massive reactors to a single weapon system. The quantum disruptor was one of humanity's most advanced weapons, designed to tear apart matter at the atomic level. The ship carried 12 such weapons, but one would be enough for this demonstration. On every Vorthan ship, sensors detected the power buildup. Energy readings climbed beyond anything their instruments had ever recorded. Warning lights flashed on alien bridges as crews realized something terrible was about to happen. Admiral Kethvar watched his tactical screens with growing horror. "What is that human ship doing?" he demanded. "Sir, they are charging a weapon system," his tactical officer replied with a trembling voice. "The power levels are impossible. Our computers cannot calculate the weapon's potential output." The charging process created a sound that traveled through subspace itself. Every crew member in both fleets could hear it, a deep humming that seemed to vibrate in their bones. The sound grew louder and deeper as more power flowed into the weapon. On Prometheus Base, Captain Daeho and his crew watched in awe as the great Dreadnought prepared to fire. They could see energy building along the ship's hull, crackling like lightning between the weapon ports. "What are they going to shoot at?" Bora asked, studying her sensor readings. "Not at the alien ships," Daeho observed. "They're targeting that large asteroid near the edge of the system." The asteroid was roughly the same size as a Vorthan heavy cruiser. It had been there for millions of years, a chunk of rock and metal drifting through space. In a few moments it would become a lesson in human military power. "Weapon ready, sir," Jae-sung reported. "Fire." The quantum disruptor cannon unleashed its stored energy in a beam of pure white light. The beam moved faster than human eyes could follow, crossing the distance to the asteroid in less than a second. When it struck, the results were beyond spectacular. The asteroid did not explode. It did not break apart. It simply ceased to exist. Where there had been a massive chunk of rock and metal, there was now only empty space and a rapidly expanding cloud of fundamental particles. The weapon had not destroyed the asteroid. It had unmade it, breaking down every atom into its component parts. The energy released by this process was visible across the entire system. For a brief moment, a new star seemed to appear in space, burning brighter than the system's sun. Then the light faded, leaving only empty space where the asteroid had been. Every Vorthan crew member who witnessed the demonstration felt their courage drain away like water. They had just watched a human weapon erase matter from existence. If such a weapon hit their ships, there would be nothing left to bury. Impossible. Admiral Kethvar whispered. No weapon can do that. Sir, his science officer said in a voice filled with terror. According to our readings, the human weapon disrupted the atomic bonds of the entire asteroid. It converted matter directly into energy. The physics involved are beyond our current understanding. But Seung-ho was not finished with his demonstration. He had shown the Vorthons his ship's firepower. Now he would show them its speed and maneuverability. So Young, he said, begin evasive pattern Delta 7, full acceleration. Yes, sir, So Young replied. Her hands danced over the helm controls like a pianist playing a complex song. The massive Dreadnought suddenly burst into motion. Despite its enormous size, the ship accelerated like a fighter craft, pulling gravity-defying turns and loops that should have been impossible for something so large. The Indomitable twisted through space with fluid grace, its advanced engines creating gravitational fields that rippled outward like waves on a pond. The smaller Vorthon ships were caught in these gravitational waves. They rocked and rolled as space itself seemed to bend around them. Several alien vessels collided with each other as their pilots struggled to maintain control. How can something that large move so fast? Demanded a Vorthon captain over the communication channels. It's not natural, replied another. No ship that size should be able to accelerate like that. But the most terrifying part of the demonstration was still to come. As the Indomitable performed its impossible maneuvers, it activated its full sensor array. Min-Seo announced each scan result as her computers processed the data. Scanning Vorthon flagship Stellar Dominion. Crew complement 2,400. Weapon systems, 47 plasma cannons, 12 torpedo tubes. Shield strength 62%. Current emotional state of bridge crew, extreme fear. The scans penetrated every Vorthon ship, looking through their armor and shields as if they were made of glass. The human sensors counted crew members, cataloged weapons, analyzed ship systems, and even detected the psychological state of the alien crews. Scanning heavy cruiser Knight's Edge, Min-Seo continued. Hull breach detected on Deck 7. Engine efficiency at 73%. Recommendation: immediate repairs required. The Vorthons realized with growing horror that the human ship knew everything about them. Every weakness, every damaged system, every frightened crew member. There were no secrets from the Indomitable's sensors. Admiral Kethvar felt completely exposed, as if the human ship was looking into his very soul. His tactical officer was shaking so badly he could barely work his controls. Sir, the officer stammered, they know everything about our ships, our weapons, our defenses, our crew numbers. How is this possible? Advanced human technology, Kethvar replied, though his own voice was unsteady. We underestimated their capabilities. On the human research station, Captain Daeho watched the demonstration with amazement. The great ship moved through space like a living creature, graceful and deadly. Its sensors penetrated the alien vessels as easily as looking through clear water. That ship is incredible, Wu Jin said. I've never seen anything like it. It's protecting us, Bo-Ra added, showing those aliens what will happen if they attack human civilians. The psychological warfare was working perfectly. Throughout the Vorthon fleet, crew members were losing their nerve. Some ships reported that their crews were requesting transfers to safer duties. Others reported that their warriors were praying to their ancient gods for protection. But Admiral Kethvar still had not given the order to retreat. Pride and duty warred in his mind. The Vorthon Empire had sent him to conquer this system. How could he return empty-handed, defeated by a single human ship? Seung-ho seemed to read the alien admiral's thoughts. He opened another communication channel, this time speaking directly to the Vorthon flagship. Admiral Kethvar, he said, using the alien's name and rank with casual ease. I know you are proud. I know your empire expects victory. But look at what you face. Look at what I have shown you. Your courage is admirable, but courage alone will not save your crews. The personal address shocked Kethvar. How did the human know his name? How did they know about his orders from the Empire? Your ships are outnumbered by my weapon systems, Seung-ho continued. Your shields cannot protect you from my guns. Your sensors cannot hide you from my scans. I offer you one final chance to withdraw with honor. Take your fleet home. Tell your empire that humanity is not as weak as they believed. The communication channel went silent. On 47 Vorthon ships, crews waited for their admiral's decision. Some hoped he would choose retreat and life. Others feared he would choose battle and death. Admiral Kethvar looked around his bridge at the faces of his officers. These were good soldiers who trusted him to make the right choice. In his mind, he heard the words of the human admiral. Courage alone will not save your crews. The alien commander closed his eyes and made his decision. Admiral Kethvar opened his eyes and looked at his bridge crew. These aliens had served with him for many years. They had fought beside him in dozens of battles across the galaxy. They trusted him to bring them home alive. The human Dreadnought floated in space before his fleet like a dark mountain. Its weapons remained trained on every Vorthon ship. Its sensors continued to scan through their hulls as if their armor was made of paper. The demonstration had shown exactly what would happen if this battle continued. "Communication officer," Kethvar said quietly. "Send a message to all ships in the fleet." "Yes, Admiral," the officer replied, relief clear in his voice. "All vessels, this is Admiral Kethvar. We are withdrawing from this system immediately. All ships begin retreat to hyperspace jump point. Move in formation and maintain discipline." The bridge crew let out a collective breath they had been holding. Around the fleet, similar sighs of relief echoed through 47 ships. Crews who had expected to die in the next few minutes now had hope of seeing their families again. But the retreat was not smooth. Several Vorton ships collided with each other in their haste to escape the human Dreadnought. Others suffered engine failures as their power systems, stressed by fear and panic, began to malfunction. The once proud battle fleet looked like a group of frightened animals fleeing from a predator. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Admiral Sung-Ho watched the aliens retreat. He felt no pleasure in their fear, only satisfaction that human lives had been saved without bloodshed. "Sir," Mincio reported from the tactical station, "the Vorthon fleet is moving to hyperspace jump distance. Several of their ships have suffered minor damage from collision and system failures. Any of them need help?" Sung-Ho asked. The question surprised his bridge crew. Even after the aliens had threatened innocent civilians, their admiral was offering assistance to enemy ships in distress. "No, sir," Mincio replied. "They appear to be managing their problems without aid." "Good, let them go. So Young, bring us alongside Prometheus Base. I want to check on the research station." "Yes, sir," So Young acknowledged. The massive Dreadnought turned with surprising grace and moved toward the small human outpost. On Prometheus Base, Captain Daeho watched the great ship approach. Even knowing it was there to help, the vessel was intimidating. It was larger than some cities Daeho had visited on Earth. Its hull was scarred by battles fought in secret across the galaxy. "Captain," Wu Jin called from his communication station, "the Dreadnought is requesting permission to communicate." "Put them through," Daeho replied. Admiral Sung-Ho's voice filled the control room. It was calm and professional, the voice of a man used to command. "Prometheus Base, this is Admiral Sung-Ho Jang aboard the UES Indomitable. Are you and your crew unharmed?" "We're fine, Admiral," Daeho replied. "Thanks to you. We thought your ship was destroyed 3 years ago." "That was the official story," Sung-Ho said. "The truth is more complicated. We've been operating under special orders. I'm sorry we couldn't contact you sooner, but revealing our presence would have compromised our mission." "What mission?" Daeho asked. There was a pause before Sung-Ho answered. "Hunting Vorthon strike forces that threaten human colonies. For 3 years we've been protecting human space from attacks that never happened, because we stopped them before they began." Bora spoke up from her station. "How many alien ships have you destroyed?" 12 major vessels and their escorts," Sung-Ho replied. "Each one was planning to attack human colonies or trade routes. We estimate our actions have saved thousands of lives." The people on Prometheus Base were quiet as they absorbed this information. For 3 years they had believed they were alone at the edge of human space. In reality, the most powerful ship in the human fleet had been protecting them from shadows. "Admiral," Daeho said, "will the Vorthons return?" "Not to this system," Sung-Ho replied with certainty. "Admiral Kethvar will report what happened here. The Vorthon Empire will reconsider their expansion plans. They've been reminded that humanity is not as defenseless as they thought." Through the windows of Prometheus Base, the crew could see the Vorthon fleet jumping to hyperspace in the distance. Flashes of light marked each ship's departure as they fled to safety. Soon the system was empty except for the research station and its massive protector. "What happens now?" Hee-Jin asked. "Now we return to our mission," Sung-Ho said. "The galaxy is a dangerous place and there are always threats to human lives. But first, is there anything you need? Supplies, medical assistance? Repairs? We're fine, Admiral, Daeho assured him. But thank you for the offer. It's the least I can do. You and your people chose to work at the frontier of human space, expanding our knowledge of the universe. That kind of courage deserves protection. The communication channel was quiet for a moment. Finally, Daeho spoke. Admiral, will we see you again? Probably not, Sung-ho replied honestly. Our work requires secrecy. But know that we're out there watching the darkness between stars. If you're ever in danger again, we'll come. How will you know if we need help? We have ways of monitoring communications across human space. If you send a distress signal, we'll hear it, and we'll respond. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Sung-ho looked at his crew. Min-seo was updating their tactical files with information from the encounter. Jae-sung was running diagnostics on the weapon systems. So-young was plotting courses to their next patrol area. Sir, Min-seo said, our mission secrecy has been compromised. The Vorthans know we're alive and active. I know, Seong-ho replied, but saving those people was worth it. We can adapt our methods, find new ways to hunt enemy ships. The mission continues. What about Earth Command? Jae-sung asked. They'll want to know what happened here. They'll get a report, but they'll also get results. The Vorthans will be more careful about attacking human targets now. Fear can be as effective as firepower. So-young looked up from her navigation station. Sir, where are we heading next? Chung-ho studied the star charts displayed on the main screen. Somewhere in the darkness, other enemy fleets were planning attacks on human colonies. Other innocent people needed protection. The Tau Ceti region, he decided. Intelligence suggests Vorthan raiders are operating near the mining colonies. We'll investigate. Yes, sir, So-young replied. Course laid in. Admiral Chung-ho opened one final communication to Prometheus Base. Captain Kim, thank you for the work you and your people do here. The galaxy is a better place because of researchers like you. Thank you, Admiral, Daeho replied. For everything. The massive Dreadnought began to move away from the research station. Its stealth systems activated, making it fade from sensors like a ghost returning to the shadows. Soon it was invisible again, just another dark patch against the stars. But the people on Prometheus Base would never forget what they had seen. They had witnessed the moment when 47 enemy warships froze in terror at the sight of human power. They had watched their protectors emerge from darkness to defend the innocent. Captain Daeho stood in the control room, looking out at the stars. Somewhere in that vast darkness, the Indomitable was beginning another patrol. Its crew would hunt enemy ships and protect human lives. They would remain hidden, working in secret to keep the galaxy safe. Bora, he said, update our log. Note that the research station was threatened by a Vorthon battle fleet and saved by the intervention of a human dreadnought. Should I include details about the ship? Bora asked. Daeho thought about this. Admiral Seung-ho had not asked them to keep secrets, but he had mentioned that secrecy was important to their mission. Note that a human military vessel provided protection, he decided. But keep the details classified. Some secrets are worth keeping. The stars shone peacefully in the darkness, giving no sign of the drama that had played out among them. But across the galaxy, word would spread. The Vorthon Empire would whisper about the ghost ship that had humiliated their fleet. Other alien powers would reconsider their plans to test human resolve. And in the depths of space, the crew of the Indomitable would continue their endless patrol, watching over humanity's children among the stars. They were guardians in the darkness, protectors whose greatest victories were the battles that never had to be fought. The galaxy had been reminded of an important truth. Humans never surrender. And they never abandon their own.